Well, let's move from the public service to the environment now. And this week, a baby jackal was caught, and it was in some distress in Johannesburg's northern suburbs. It's since been released, I understand, into the wild. Many of us might also have been following this ongoing saga of a hippopotamus that has made its home in the River, also north of the city. It begs the question, are we seeing more wildlife encroachment into suburbia? With me now on Tuesday lunchtime is Margie Brocklehurst from the organisation Friends of Free Wildlife. Margie, good afternoon to you and welcome. I guess the obvious question is, how does a small jackal find itself in suburbia?
People will be amazed what is in suburbia, and it's not so much as they're encroaching on our territory, but we're encroaching into the wildlife and territory.
So tell us about the jackal then. How was it found? What was its condition? And subsequently, how was it released?
It was found in an outside room in a residential area in Fourways. Fortunately, the lady had been in touch with us previously and a couple of weeks before that about a bird. So she phoned Friends of Free Wildlife and got in touch with Wendy Brodie, who's one of our senior volunteers. Explained what had happened, which is unusual so far into Fourways. We do have them up in Chartwell, Army and around that area. But Claudia Sabander, who's our senior animal manager, and Wendy loaded up the bucky with a capture box and went off to try and get him. So actually what happened was then he was already in a small room, which makes capture very much easier than if he'd have been in a garden. We got the box into the room. Claudius went into the room with a net and the box and a towel, and it was quite easy. In fact, he opened the door to the box. It looked like a quiet, dark space for the little jackal, and he went in and he was captured very easily and with as little stress as possible. As I'm talking to you, we're watching video of this animal being released now. What's the prognosis once an animal like this has been kept in captivity? He hadn't been kept in captivity. He had gotten lost somewhere along the line. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't being kept there. But the prognosis is very good. We released him north of Joburg, out past Lanseria. He's a sub-adult, which probably means he's around about 8-9 months old. He was at the age when he would be leaving his family anyway, and looking after himself. So we released him into an area where jackal do occur. It's also the time of year when there are lots of young jackal going out and starting to be independent. So he's got a very, very good chance of survival. Just finally, Margie, are you following the hippo story? I am following it. It's amazing, actually, to know that there's a hippo in the river not far from here. But as I said, wildlife is being pressed from all sides at the moment with the immense growth of our urban developments. So our centre is an urban wildlife centre. So we generally see animals that are in distress or hurt or orphaned because of people and just the areas that we're in. You know, already in January we saw almost 500 cases in 1 month. It is quite high for January, but the weather has been really terrible to baby birds and baby animals in the last few weeks. So that's the reason for the high rate of admission at the moment. I thank you for joining us, Margie Brocklehurst. Thank you very much indeed. Now to the